There is two kinds of righteousness. Okay, there is God's righteousness, which is also called the righteousness of God, and then there is self-righteousness. Let's look at the difference. Self-righteousness is when a person has not submitted to Christ. Okay, so in other words, they still have their sinful Adamic nature, and they're trying to live by the law of God. Okay, so they're living by thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, all of that. And in their sinful nature, they're trying to live up to God's standard in the law. That is self-righteousness. They're trying to achieve righteousness by themselves. They don't want to go through Christ by submitting to Him. Now, God's righteousness, or the righteousness of God, is when a person is crossed over. They've submitted to Christ. What happens then is that God Himself changes their heart. He gives them a heart of righteousness and removes that nature of sin in them. This is all done by God. That's why it's called the righteousness of God. We don't earn it. It's just due to our submission to Christ. God gives it to us. Now, the reason why this is so important to know the difference is because Paul was supposed to be the apostle of grace, and he taught things like grace is the end of the law. And yet, the same Paul seems to be mentioning aspects of the law in the new covenant, in his letters, in the epistles. He will say things like the works of the flesh, jealousy, envying, and all of that. And even in 1 Corinthians 6:9, he talks about idolaters, drunkards will not inherit the kingdom of God. And you're wondering, why does it seem like he's preaching the law, even though he says grace is the end of the law? Now, the answer is, it is not so much what is preached, but it is to whom it is preached. If he is preaching those things to people who haven't given their life to Christ, it becomes a law unto them. However, if he's preaching it to believers, then it's just telling them that this is what you used to be, this is what you have become now, therefore live this way. Okay, so it's more of a revelation of their new nature and how they should be living, as opposed to trying to get them to work out their own form of righteousness.